We are back with the 160th edition of the Quarantinecast. Like always, I'm really, really excited for this one. I'm having a guest I haven't had on yet, which is always nice to talk to new people. Without further ado, it's Brittney Elkin.
Hey guys.
Hey, how's it going? How are you doing?
I'm actually really good, getting ready to go to practice, so doing really good.
So we were talking. We had a hard time because you had two practices today, and you've got lots of driving in between. How crazy has it been this camp in terms of training and leveling up and doing several practices a day?
Yeah, it's been super crazy because I just had moved out to the East Coast in March 1st. So I'm still like learning the area, and the gyms I chose are a little far away. The one I'm going to this morning is just down the street from my house, so it's really awesome to hit a 3-hour pro roll. But I don't work out the whole 3 hours. But then I go to MMA over in 10th Planet Bethlehem over at the Finishers MMA headquarters, and yeah, that's about a 2-hour drive. So it's just long days, just like any fight camp. You know, your whole day is structured around your training.
So I want to talk a little bit about, I guess, life right now in the pandemic. It's been crazy. I'm up in Canada, so we're in lockdown right now. But
okay,
what's it been like in terms of getting in proper training and things like that the past year?
For me, I don't know. So I was in Denver this whole past year, and my gym opened back up long ago, kind of with the blocked out windows and the kind of like the secret, do you know the password kind of opening, so we would still be like 30 strong. I'm just kidding. We had 3 people in there. But yeah, no, we went pretty hard for the whole thing. My team home, basically like after the 2-month first initial break, we were back at practice. So I was doing that. And then I was retired from MMA for 2-3 years up until April 1st when PFL called me. But I had been training all over the country because I was on tour with Fight to Win. So we did a lot of sessions down in Dallas, a lot of sessions in Florida over at Fight Sports, or I only got to go to Fight Sports once, but we got to go on a lot of different touring sessions in Florida. So my life hasn't really stopped. I was getting ready for the ADCC trials, and that's in November, but I was pre-planning out this far to try to make some adjustments in my schedule, regimen, timing, and stuff. So I've been really just on the go. The pandemic didn't slow me down in training. And actually, I've been walking lighter for the last year than I have in like the last 10 years. So I'm doing well.
Yeah, and you've been able to compete, not like you said, not in MMA, but you got in a few grappling bouts.
I had 6 during 2020. Yep, yeah, 6 pro ones, and they were all really incredible. I went against number 1 in the world, 2 different number 1s in 2 different weight classes. I am not number 1 yet, but I plan on being in the next 2 years, taking that number 1 spot or number 1 seat in my jiu-jitsu ranking, because that's ultimately one of my passions. But yeah, I did a lot of real tough matches, and I think it's just made me better,
Obviously, that's kind of where your advantage is going to be, grappling. It's something your opponent, Claressa Shields, doesn't have. Do you feel like that those 6 matches are going to be huge for you leading into this fight?
I think every match is definitely huge for you because you get tested and you're like, oh, my elbow was not tight enough. I got to pick that up to be number 1. I do think that my grappling's an advantage point, and however, she has a very strong advantage point on her stand-up. So it's like a clash of the styles, I'm hoping I can lead her into my game, just like everybody wants. So I maybe didn't answer that question very good, but I think every match makes you better in every way.
Yeah, definitely. I want to talk a little bit about getting that news. I mean, like you said, you were retired, and then you get a call. Claressa Shields, you have already faced a gold medalist, and now you get the opportunity to face another. How did you get the news, and what was your initial reaction?
So I work events. My life has transitioned a lot into working events. So I was actually working the will call at the CFFC Cage Fury fight April 1st, which was April Fool's Day. And that kid that lost his finger in the cage, I don't know if you follow MMA, but a kid lost his finger in the cage. Literally that happened. And they were announcing over the PA, like, we lost a finger, and then the crowd started yelling, "Fist him, fist him." And then my phone lit up, and it was Ray Sefo. So this was all on April Fool's Day. And I was like, is this happening? And Ray kind of called, we touched base, and then he threw down the offer. And I said yes because I meant yes, but a lot of different things go through your head until you sign that contract. And then I hung up the phone, but I called him immediately back because all that chaos was still going on in my present like surroundings. And I was like, are you fucking kidding, Ray? Because this would be the meanest April Fool's joke ever. And he's like, no, I'm not kidding. And then we signed a contract 12 days later. So it was a lot of outer comings is the way I'll say it, because I re-swallowed the MMA pill, and I've always loved the sport, but I was doing whatever I wanted in a different sport, and this is a super selfish, completely dedicated life in sport, and just to dive right back in the deep end was a commitment, we'll say. Now I'm driving all over the state to make practice, so it's funny.
Was it the prospect of fighting another Olympian? Was it Claressa Shields? Was it what was the ultimate reason for it? Was it just you missed the sport?
No, it was none of that. It's like, I think that in life, stars align so perfectly only so many times, and pain is temporary unless you give up, and then it's forever. And I feel that if like I would have been offered that and it was a legit thing, my body's uninjured, I'm in perfect health, my son is 15 grown, I'm not in, sending him to daycare and all these things anymore. I think it was just that you don't let opportunities so great go, and I couldn't not bite down on that. Stylistically, it's an amazing thing to, if I was a fan for this, I would be watching, because it's a striker and an ultimate striker and an ultimate jiu-jitsu girl. And it doesn't happen in the women's field like this so often. So I'm just proud to be a part of it. And I'm still going to watch it after, because I am a fan of combative sports. It's a neat alignment. It's my Buster Douglas moment, and I don't have an awesome winning record. So I'm definitely an underestimated fighter, but I don't feel that this should be an underestimated fight, because it's a really neat opportunity. And then the more I take another day closer to the cage, the more I feel that, so.
One of the things I wanted to touch on was the reason you retired was you got injured. And that was one of many reasons, but how is your injury? How are you feeling? Are you back to 100%? Do you still have some nagging injuries?
So I did Bobby from Canada, who is one of my friends now. She's a wonderful person. In my last fight, snapped my arm in 3 pieces. It did a wrap around of her leg, and I fought for 4 minutes after, and it took about 8 months because I had a non-union first, one side attached. And I'm such a stubborn person. I was like, no surgery, squeeze it and put it in a cast. So because I didn't want to pay the money and I didn't have insurance. So literally I went through the torture of a doctor squeezing it after Bobby broke it, and they wrapped it in a cast. It took 6 months for the first union to make. And then my second union on the other side of the bone pulled away and made a bunch of scar tissue. And then you can't see it. It's completely healed, and it is unioned, but it's like a huge bump on the side of my arm. It actually makes a lot of my submissions a little bit dirtier, because it's like it's like wearing a knee pad mid-side of your arm. It's a huge lump, and I don't have any problems with it. I'm always trying to be stronger, because like I went through atrophy and stuff after it, but now that's been almost 2 years. So I've definitely been building that up for a couple years now. I was released medically 8 months after that happened, and they said I could go back to MMA. I just didn't tell now.
Wow, it's crazy, because Chris Weidman just hurt his leg. Jacques Ray Souza just hurt his arm. When you see injuries like that, does it bring back any PTSD? Oh my God, I went through that.
Oh yeah. So when she broke my arm, I'm one of the weird psychos that has conversations in my head. when I'm going through those fights. You know, I don't know if other people do. I just know I do. But I threw a couple punches, and the video is actually up on the internet on the site, the No Mercy Extreme Cage Fighting. But they spell both of our names wrong, so you can't see it. You have to know where to go watch that fight. But after she breaks my arm, it's the first 30 seconds, or one of her first kicks, she breaks. You hear a baseball like hit a metal pole snap. And I start throwing my punch in that one, and my arm starts leaving and coming back like ta-da-da, 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 ta-da-da. And I had a conversation. I was like, Brittney, your arm's broken. Like in my head, I was like, your arm is broken. And I kept fighting. And then I threw hooks and I shook it out a few times in the video. And then my coach, you hear him almost perfectly go for the double. And I went for a double and my arm went ta-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And that moment is PTSD when I watch other fighters break theirs, because I'll never forget the 3 shifting bones inside of my arm when I went for a takedown. And I stopped almost immediately and just held my arm while she punched me. And yeah, MMA is a fucking dirty whore, and it does not love you. And you keep going back because it's got an addictive, beautiful, beautiful side to it. But there's a grit that is very, very naughty, and it doesn't love you. My roommate just came home, so.
All right, I'll ask you a couple more questions. I know you've got training coming up. One of the guys you've been working with is Zach Makovsky. I mean, he formerly.
Who was that? I didn't hear who you said.
You've been training with Zach Makovsky.
Oh God, I love it. I love his training. Yeah, keep going.
I met him once, and I think he's a great guy. But talk about what it's meant to be working with him for this camp.
You know, I didn't know him until this camp. I have some really great minds in this camp. I have. I mean, I'm down to fighters, down to my roommate's a fighter. You know what I mean? So like, I have a lot of black belts talking to me, and I'm sitting there at the 10th Planet Bethlehem. I don't think we even signed the contract yet when this is where I met Zach in the camp, and he's the MMA instructor over there. He's from Canada, or no, he's been in Montreal for a long time, but he came down for training, and he's running a great program. But he really does some neat things in training. We have a talk about it. He applies it, but he has a way of teaching it that you're like, oh, no wonder we're fucking doing that. Like I've been going to practice for like 12, 13 years. You know what I mean? And you go to practice, you see the move, you drill it 4 times, you laugh and make a joke with your friends, and then you go back. You know what I mean? But Zach's is really interactive, and then we use a lot of footage in his stuff, and not only do we talk about reviewing footage of like the way Claressa moves or your opponent or whoever, but we talk about the way you move, and he films it on the corner. And then he has this weird way, like we do it after class, but then he'll message you 4 hours before pro class, and he'll slow down a video on his video editor, and he'll say, see where this strike came through the hole, the guard you're not blocking, and see, this is what I'm talking about. And you'll watch the video. He really takes time, is what I'm trying to say. And his creative tactics make me remember why I loved MMA. Because I've been kind of a sourpuss, grounded over here in the corner in my own head, like I'm mad at it, for the last couple of years. And going to practice with him, that's who I'm practicing with tonight. He's got a really creative, fun way of redeliverance of the topic. And then like last night, we were going over this amazing position that I just have been nailing. And I was like celebrating with him how violent I was going to be able to be. And I said, I'm going to be so dangerous. And me and him had this little celebration. So he's definitely bringing out a fun side to it again. He's fun. He's like a little kid having fun in there. And watching somebody do those things can really help you do it. You know, instead of being like, I'm mad at this, I'm mad I can't eat, and I'm mad I can't have fun. So, yeah, it's an interesting, fun guy to have there, you know.
And then I'll end on this note. I mean, she hasn't fought yet in MMA. She talks. So when you're watching tape and when you're trying to dissect your opponent, is it harder knowing that the film you have is her in boxing glove?
No, it actually gives me a little less less to, okay, so you can plan for everything and then a firework will go off in the trash can, you know what I mean? Like, no, I'm less intimidated that she's never fought more. Fighting the unknown, a lot of things can happen, and that's what maybe it's making me better because I'm preparing for a lot of things that might not happen. So, I think that it only benefits me that she's never fought right now. You can talk again to me on June 11th and we might have a different conversation, but right now in my head and the way I view it is it only benefits me that she's never had cage time in reality, alone with a corner on the outside, not being able to touch her for 5 minutes. You know what I mean? And I definitely have that experience. I have the wins and losses. And I hope this is a wonderful win, so.
Well, I can't wait to watch. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I know you've got a lot of training to do today. So thank you very much for the time and best of luck.
Hey, thanks. And I hope you have a great morning.
Yeah, you as well. So there you have it. Brittney Elkin, be sure to watch her fight. She's fighting Claressa Shields. For those of you who don't know, Claressa Shields was multiple-time world champion, also Olympic gold medalist in boxing. She's making her PFL debut. And, if you guys haven't yet, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next.